Hi, and welcome to part 9 of the How to Start Homeschooling video series. Today I'm going to talk about planning your year at a glance and planning your general weekly routines. Now I know that sounds overwhelming, but I'm going to sort of talk you through it a little bit. If you want a more detailed instruction, I guess, on planning your year at a glance and exactly what we do, I'm going to link a video down below. It's from a homeschool mom named Megan Phillips, and she posted this video something like 5 years ago, but I did this year, and I created our year at a glance. And basically I have our lessons roughly scheduled for 42 weeks for the year. Now, a school year is normally only 36 weeks, but because we are doing a 6-week on, 1 week off break with all of those breaks and spring break and Christmas break and other holiday breaks factored in, we're going to be homeschooling for about 42 or 43 weeks, but I know exactly what we're doing for the majority of the year. So if it seems overwhelming to you, I promise it's not. It took about 15 minutes, but check out Megan's video to sort of see how we do it. But I'm gonna walk you through roughly how to schedule out your homeschool year and figure out how to create a routine that works for you and your family. The first thing I would do is I would get out a piece of paper and write down all of the subjects that you plan on studying this year in your homeschool. And we talked about that in video number 3, the Choosing Your Curriculum Part 1 video, because your state has certain guidelines. And so basically you have to do what the state says, and then any other additional subjects that you plan on doing, write all of those down on a piece of paper. Now next to those, I want you to write down how many times a week you plan to do every subject. Now for the most part, all of your language arts subjects and all of your math subjects need to be done every day that you homeschool, whether that's 4 days a week or 5 days a week. For the most part, these subjects are the bones of your child's education, the reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? That's the most important thing, and they typically need to be done every day of the week that you homeschool, whether that's 4 days a week or 5 days a week. So I would go ahead and write that number next to each of your subjects. If you're doing something like spelling practice, maybe you're only doing that 3 days a week, but if you have an all-inclusive language arts curriculum, just write for the language arts curriculum how many days you plan on doing language arts. For us, it's every day. Next, let's talk about science and social studies. Social studies is history and geography. And a lot of times, especially if you buy a box curriculum, your social studies is tied in with your literature. So this also counts as independent reading and read aloud. So all of those subjects together. But let's talk about those. Most of the time, you don't need to do these subjects every day. If you look at the schedule provided by the homeschool company or the vendor that your curriculum comes from, oftentimes they'll give you a sample schedule, and especially for science and social studies, they'll give you a 5-day-a-week schedule and then something less. For example, Bookshark and Sunlight, the curriculums I spoke about in an earlier video, they offer 5-day-a-week schedules and 4-day-a-week schedules, but that's for the full subject package. For each individual curriculum, you're doing science and social studies 2 to 3 days a week. The science curriculum that we're probably going to use this fall offers a 5-day-a-week plan and a 2-day-a-week plan, and so they're very flexible. Ultimately, you just have to go through and decide when you're doing what subject and how often. Next, you want to look at any extra subjects that you're teaching. So are you doing a Bible curriculum or a religious curriculum, and how often do you want to do that? Write it down. We would do that every single day. We're doing enrichment studies. So for example, for Corona School, our enrichment studies consisted of music appreciation, poetry, character, and fables. And so while we did the music appreciation every day, we just listened to it in the morning after we said our pledge and before we did our devotional, and I let my kids color while they listened to a piece of classical music. The other 3 subjects, poetry, fable, and character study, we looped. And what that means is we didn't do those subjects on a set day or even on a set number of days of the week. There were 3 subjects, we were schooling 5 days a week, and we just looped them. So we would do poetry, fable, character study, poetry, fable, and that would be 1 week. And then the next week we would start character study, poetry, fable, character study, and we just looped them that way. And so that's something that you can do if you only want to do a subject once a week. That's fine. You want to make sure that you have the state standards for how often you need to be teaching the core subjects, and then figure out what works best for you as far as the rest of your subjects. Once you figured out for every subject how many times a week you want to do that subject, the rest is easy. What you're going to do is you're going to open up your book and look at the table of contents, and you're going to see how many lessons are provided in your book. Now, the great thing about homeschool curriculum is it's not always divided into chapters and sections. It's usually divided into lessons for you, and one lesson equals one day. Occasionally you'll stumble upon a curriculum where one lesson can last multiple days, but for the most part, they're getting pretty savvy about updating editions and redoing curriculum so that one lesson is done on one day. So if you're doing science 2 days a week, the first week of school, you're going to do lessons 1 and 2 because you're doing 2 lessons a week. And so it's pretty easy. So what you'll do is you create a spreadsheet and create weeks 1 through 36, or however many weeks you plan on schooling. And then in the first column, write weeks 1 through 36, because that's typically how many weeks of school you'll need to complete a school year, whether it's 175 days or 180. Most school districts fall somewhere in that range as far as legalities and what's required. Then across the top, write all of the subjects that you plan on doing. And then, like I said, once you go through, go to your science column, and for week 1, lessons 1 and 2, week 2, lessons 3 and 4, and do that all the way down until you have lesson 36 done. And then move on to your next subjects. Let's say it's language arts. And again, we're doing language arts 5 days a week. Okay, so you're going to do lessons 1 through 5 in week 1, week 2, lessons 6 through 10. And you're going to keep going until you've filled out your spreadsheet for every subject. And that way, when you're done, you have your whole school year essentially planned out for you. It's very simple. And again, if you want a more detailed view, Megan Phillips' video down below is super helpful. Again, that's what I use, and I'll insert a little screenshot of our year at a glance. She also has free templates for you to download for Microsoft Excel, and it will allow you to put multiple children, because if you are schooling more than 1 children, you don't need to make 100 spreadsheets. You just need to make 1 spreadsheet and allot room for multiple children. And she has templates that allow you to do that. So definitely check out her video and get her templates. So now that you have your year at a glance done, it's time to start planning for about 4 to 6 weeks. Now, because we do 6 weeks on, 1 week off, I would plan right now for the first 6 weeks chunk of school. So what I would do is look at my year at a glance, and I'm going to see on language arts, I'm doing week 1, lessons 1 through 5. So I'm going to go to my homeschool planner, and I'm going to write that out in my language arts box, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5, Monday through Friday, right? If you don't have a day planner or a homeschool planner, and you want something either online or on paper, I've created one using Google Sheets. I'll be sure to link it down below, and you can either fill it all out on the computer and check things off as you do them, or you can go ahead and print it and then handwrite in whatever subjects and lessons you're going to be doing that day. But I strongly suggest having some kind of planner just to help you stay on top of things, even if it's just a notebook and kind of every day you write down, okay, here's what we're going to do today. I would strongly suggest having something like that. So once you have language arts, then you'll do math. Okay, math this week, we're doing lessons 1 through 5. Science this week, we're doing lessons 6 and lessons 8, and we do science on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So in my day planner, I'm going to write lesson 6 on Tuesday, lesson 8 on Thursday, and then let's say I do a fun Friday kind of a thing in our homeschool, and so I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to do the science project or the science experiment until Friday. So I want to write that down. The other thing you want to do when you're planning your 4 or 6 week block is make a note of any supplemental activities or projects that you're adding that you either need to purchase or purchase supplies for, as well as any library books that you might want to add to your curriculum. For example, say in geography that week you're studying Africa and you want to get some really good picture books about Africa. You need to allow yourself time to either go to the library or find the books online, especially if you're finding them online and you have to place holds. That means the book is not ready for you right now. You probably need to place a hold on it 1 to 2 weeks before you need the book so that you have it when you're ready to do your lesson. So those are all things that I would write on that planner. If I'm studying Africa in week 3 of homeschool on week 1, I'm going to make a note to do I need to place a hold on Africa books for the library. And then at the end of week 2, I'm going to have another note. Pick up Africa library books from library, right? So you kind of just want to get everything again on paper so that when school starts, you're not scrounging to get prepared. You're not scrounging to figure out what it is you're supposed to do that week. Your homeschool teacher or your educational specialist will also help you if you're going through a charter school. They help you stay online. They help you plan everything out. But just in case you want to get prepared now, or you don't you're not going through a charter and you're doing a private school and you need to get everything done now, these are the things I would recommend doing. So I'm going to link, as I said, Megan Phillips' video down below as far as planning out your year at a glance. Again, below I have my lesson plan. And then I'm also going to put down below a link to a video that I posted about how I plan my week for homeschool. And so you can watch that as well. It's pretty detailed. So that's all I have for this series. I hope it helps answer some or any of your questions if you have. Again, I'm no expert. This is what I have found from research and, just from being a hobbyist, and kind of this series of videos answers the questions that I'm getting the most of from you, my peers who are very new to homeschool, don't know anything about it, and don't know where to start. So I hope that this helps you. If not, send me a message. Leave a comment in the video and we can talk more about everything. All right, good luck. It's going to be a great year. I'll talk to you later. Bye.